So there's four things that you've got to know before you start doing the spending plan, which we're going to go through later. So we've got a 5-step spending plan, which is like super practical, and will help you really align your spending with your values and your goals, and have something that you really feel good about, that hopefully feels easy or easier than anything you've done in the past, and allows you to spend on the things that you love. But before we actually go in, and tonight we're going to show you that full 5-step spending plan. We're going to give you all the tools and resources that you need to actually go away and implement it, and explain each of the 5 steps, because if you know why we've got all of the steps in there, and you've got all of that philosophy and the concepts behind it all, we believe it's going to be easier for you to do, because they're all in there for a really good reason. But before we do anything, or before we get stuck into the actual 5 steps, we're going to start just with setting some foundations, and they're about knowing what your money story is, your money personality, your personal values, and knowing what your goals are. So if you know those things first, then it's going to make the 5-step spending plan way easier, because you'll understand why you've had some past behaviors, why things haven't worked out for you before, why some relationships that you've got with other people are really difficult, why you think you do about money. And once you know those things, then you're going to be able to decide what you want to change, what you want to keep, and how to better interact with the people that you love around you when it comes to all of this stuff. So those 4 things, again, are your money story, your money personality, the things that you value in your everyday life, and the long-term, short and medium-term goals that you have, financial goals that you have. So probably in the past you have done had a budget or a plan and set some goals. So goals, planning, budget, that type of stuff. And that's easier for some people to stick to than others. And when we get stuck into the money personalities, you'll understand who that's easy for and who it's more difficult for. And it's likely that you're in a relationship with somebody who doesn't have the same personality as you, or even if you do have like a personality that does like that sort of structure and planning, and it comes easy, and you're in a relationship which is unlikely, with somebody else who's got that same personality, if you still don't have the same aligned values and goals, then still you're going to maybe run into some trouble. So we're just here to help put it all on the table and create this conversation around money, break down the barriers. We don't believe anybody else is really talking about money and budgets in this way. And you really only see it in other areas such as health and nutrition and sport, where you go really deep into understanding behaviors and psychology. But we think it's really relatable in this environment as well. So we're going to get stuck into it tonight and talk about money personalities. And we're going to talk about money stories first. That's the first one. So first of all, what is a money story? A money story is all of your past experiences and relationships that you've had that contribute to your current behaviors around money. So if you think about how you behave around money, if you were to go in and track and have a look at some of the way that you spend now, whether that's good or bad, positive or negative, the way that you think and make decisions when you're spending your money or having a plan for your money really is probably mainly because of your money story and all of your past experiences and all the things that you've learned in your lifetime around finances. So you may or may not have had good role models in your early childhood, life growing up, and your formative relationships, and ongoing into adulthood, adolescence through to adulthood, and the relationships you've had there and the experiences you've had. So whether you might have made some good or bad decisions around money, or had good or bad role models when it's come to money. So we're going to share some of our personal money stories, and we want you to think about what your money story is. And yeah, and we want you to think about it and have compassion for yourself and also your partner as well. Think about, it's really important that you understand what your significant other's money story is as well, because if you find it hard to communicate with them and to, really make some of these joint decisions together, if you think about where they've come from, where you've come from, and where you want to go together, it can really help and put it into perspective for you to have compassion for each other and facilitate and help those conversations. And it'll also help you make some decisions about what you want to change and who, if you actually need to change any of the influences around you as well. So you'll start to have awareness around that once you know what your money story is and whether you want to change anything in there for your future, because we all want to be great role models for our children as well and the younger generation, and we really want to be proud of the things that we can achieve. So, and that change is up to you, and this is a really good place to start and reflect. So going to move on now through to money personalities. And it really is linked to money story. So you have a predisposition to behave in certain ways, and we've categorized them. And before attending tonight, you would have done our money personality quiz. So hands up if you're a spender or saver, an avoider or a risk taker. Yeah, anybody want to say anything about that? Yeah, cool. All right. So basically, our money personality is how we go about making our day-to-day decisions right now, and how we can connect to other people and are able to communicate effectively. If we know our money personalities, we're able to communicate more effectively and understand our decision-making process so that we can make changes there as well. So, for example, I'm a spender. And if I didn't keep myself in check or look at this really holistically, I might not ever, reach my financial goals that I really want to, or I might be more likely to take on debt and things like that. Saying that, my partner is a saver, so that actually helps to balance me out and puts things into perspective. But however, we know lots of people who are in, relationships where we've got two spenders, or a spender and a risk taker. And for those people, sometimes the fall is harder and the lessons take longer to learn. So if we can actually pull out and recognize how we make our decisions and how we can better manage that, so that when we're at, say, the point of sale or making a decision or a large decision about money, we can take a step back and think about a better way to actually move forward with making those decisions. So that is the foundation of money personalities, and that knowing that information will help you actually implement a better spending plan for you, because you know what's going to work better for you and maybe what's not going to work better for you. And when you're putting it all into practice and you're trying to work it out with your partner, how you can communicate through that whole process so that you're getting what you need and they're getting what they need, obviously with some sort of compromise, but getting there with care, compassion, and respect for the way that each other thinks about finances and money. And obviously that relates back to each individual money story that they have as well. So the next thing is what you value, so your personal values. I'm just going to go there for a little moment, because what we want to do is create a plan for you that makes every day feel really good and happy, and that you can spend on things that you love in life. We want to bake that into the plan. So we need to understand what are the things that we love in life. We've broken it down into 5 categories of everyday life, relationships, money, community, and health and environment. So if we'll talk about all 5 of those categories. And if you can have a think about what motivates you, what makes you feel good, in all of those facets of life, then we need to make sure that that is baked into your spending plan as well. There's an actual focus on those things that you love. You, your partner, your family, the things that you want to have in there, we need to make sure that they're in and not out. And then the last thing in this foundation area is your goals. So this is the no-brainer. This is what people usually just jump straight into. They go, well, what do I want to achieve financially? And that is, I want to pay off the house, or I want to save a deposit for a house. I want to pay for my car in cash. I want to reduce my credit cards, balance on my credit cards. I want to pay off, a personal loan. I want to save for my retirement. I want to have money going into my superannuation. Whatever your financial goal, I want to go on holidays. I want to send my kids to private school. Could go on. Whatever your thing is that you want to do, that you need money for, they're your goals. And we're going to, usually people just go straight there. What are we trying to do? And then how are we going to get there? So you get the goal and the plan. And then you wonder why it feels hard and crap, because you've forgotten all the other stuff. You've forgotten how you make decisions. You haven't baked that in, and you haven't thought about your money personality, and you haven't thought about the things that you actually value in your everyday life. So they're the reasons why these budgets feel like crap. But it's important. You need to have the goals in there. So we have the goals in there. So what are you working towards financially? Because if there's any spare money, that's what we need to make sure actually happens, because we need to hit some of those milestones and hurdles, of course, right? So that is it for that. So that is your money story, your money personality, knowing your values, and knowing what your goals are. And knowing what yours are, what your partners are as well, and then putting it all together. Then we're going to sit down and do the 5-step plan. And so we'll talk about how at each stage in the 5 steps, why it's important to know, especially when we get to the prioritizing step, that's where we really link what we spending every day to our values and those things that we love. Step number 1, I'm kind of going out of order here, is tracking. So in that tracking step, that's where we actually can see our behaviors, and our past spending really is an indicator for really our money story, and our money personality shows and shines through in our past behaviors and our spending. We can actually see it there. So it's really amazing. It's super exciting. So I'm really glad that you've tuned in tonight to do this work. And if we can go through it, there's a really methodical way that we can work through this together. And then the other awesome steps. So the 5 steps are tracking, which I've just said, where we go back, look at the past behavior and spending. Then we categorize. So we work out how much of that is on essential items, how much we've got to spend on all the things that we love. The 3rd step is prioritizing, so that we can make sure that we allocate the right amount of money for all of the things, all the essential items, and allocate some money for the things we love, and allocate money for our longer term, short and medium term goals as well. That's that step. Then the 4th step, which is like the most awesome step of all, is automating this spending plan, so that once you know how much you want to go to everywhere, you set your banking up so it just happens while you're sleeping. You don't have to lay in bed wondering how you're going to pay the next bill, because you've got a plan set up, and it's just all going to be paid either automatically through automatic payments or a direct debit. Then the last step is just reviewing. So you go in, you might need to review a little bit at the start to see how it all feels and how it's all tracking. Especially at the beginning, to see if what you've set up works and what doesn't work, because nothing's ever perfect, I suppose, at the beginning, and then get into that new rhythm of, everything just automatically happening for you, and then just reviewing periodically as your goals change, your values might change, your life might change. or something in there just might not be working properly for you. But that's our goal, to at the end have this automated spending plan that is set up, that's aligned to you, making you feel great about life. Alrighty, I'll leave you to the pros who are going to tell you all the steps about how to make the 5 steps happen.